Welcome to the SmartAdmin portal. If you're an IT manager, an education technology specialist, or a system administrator for an organization that's made a purchase from Smart, this is where you'd go to see the details of the purchase and to manage user access to software. So let's dive in and take a look at the interface. You can see here that the organization that's made the purchase here is Woodbine School. So let's say you work for Woodbine School, you can see the product that they've purchased. So they purchased a subscription to Smart Learning Suite. If they'd made another purchase, that would also show up here in the portal. And then a couple of things. First of all, if you work for a district, so you have to manage multiple schools, multiple organizations, you could use this organization menu over here, the organization list, to look for other schools or other organizations that you're managing purchases for. Also up in this corner, you can check out, there is the user menu. So here's where you go to sign out. You can also view the privacy policy. If it's your first time in here, clicking on the help button is a great idea because that'll just open up our online support, where we've documented everything that you can do in the portal. So that's a great resource to take a look at when you're just getting started. We'll just head back to the portal here and look at this purchase in a bit more detail. So to expand it, we'll just press this plus button right here. So once it expands, you can actually see the individual product keys associated, and these are actually individual purchases. So you can see the bottom one here, if you look under the status column, is expired, so not so relevant anymore. But the other two you can see are active, and they have slightly different expiry dates. They were probably bought at different times. If this was collapsed and you were just looking at the overview, you would still see when the next renewal that's coming up, you would see that date up here. You can click on an individual product key to see a few more details about the purchase. So that's an option. And then in addition, this assigned total column shows how users have been given access to the software. So the total number here probably makes sense when you look at it 55. There's 40 seats in this active subscription and 15 in this one, which is also active. So that's what adds up to 55, the total seats available, the total number of users you could provision to access the software. Sometimes we get questions about the assigned number here. People say, is that the number of times I've used the product key to activate the software? No, that's not the case. This column is all about user access, and that's how we're encouraging you to give users access to the subscription, because it's a lot more flexible and easy to manage in the long run. So let's look at that right now. So if you click on Manage Users, you can actually determine who's going to have access to the subscription. So this page opens up now, and it shows all the users that have been assigned to the subscription, provisioned to use the software. So the first thing you'll see is the email address that's associated with their Smart account that you enter here. And then you're obviously going to want to enter their school email, which is probably a Google or Microsoft-based email. What they can do is then go set up a Smart account, choose Google or Microsoft as their account provider, and that same email will be used for their Smart account. So over here you can see the identity provider that's attached to the teacher's email. In this case, you can see the person who's the administrator has actually put their own email in, maybe for testing purposes, which is why you see admin portal. If you don't see anything here, it just means you see these lines. It just means that the user hasn't set up their Smart account yet, but they could easily go do that with the email that you've chosen, and they would be provisioned to access the software. Each user also has a unique account ID, and this display name here just shows the name that they've chosen to display in Smart software if they went in and chose what will appear when they're teaching, for instance, in the software. So if you want to get rid of users or take them off the subscription, say a teacher leaves your school, that's pretty easy to do. You can just select them and choose Remove User. You could select all the teachers on the list if you wanted. And then if you want to add users, there are a number of different ways to do that. So you can choose the Add User button here, and then here are your options. So first off, you could just type in email addresses. That might get a bit cumbersome if you have a huge list of teachers to provision. So another option is to import a CSV file. If you're going to do that, I would suggest taking a look at the help page over here, just because we have instructions on how to do that, and there are a few details that you need to get right in the way you set up the spreadsheet for it to work in here. Last, we have a new method. So this is our newest feature that we're very excited about. You can now import a list of teachers from ClassLink using the OneRoster specification. And what will happen then is that that list will actually be synced between the portal and ClassLink. So any changes you make in ClassLink, the sync occurs daily. It'll show up here in the portal, which means you're only managing user data in one place. A lot simpler and more efficient for you. And in our next video, we're going to go into a bit more detail about how that works, and you can set that feature up if you want to use it. So if you'd like to see that video, more updates like this, be sure to subscribe to the Smart Support YouTube channel and keep an eye on the playlist where we'll be posting this. It's called the Smart Admin Portal New Features playlist. Thanks for watching.